Hello and a very happy Sunday to you, friends. It's Sarah from Funky Fossil here with another episode of our weekly Make It Sunday, where we have a play with our Funky Fossil products or any other items you have in your craft stash. I'm hoping that I can give you a bit of inspiration to make something colourful and bright today. In particular, I'm wanting to play with our new disc journal kit, which I'll show you in a second. To make some paper dolls to go in our fun journals. I've got a whole desk full of bright and happy in front of me here, which always makes me smile in January. And what I'm wanting to do in today's video is just have a little play with some of the fantastic artwork in our new Blooming Marvellous collection from Zinski Art. And I'll flick you through that in a second. I've got it here. And I want to use it to make some paper dolls to go in our journals, because I think they're a lovely way of adding an interactive embellishment to your journal pages, or you could use them as bookmarks or page dividers in your journals, or just as great focal points on your cards too. So as you can see, I really love doing that, and the Blooming Marvellous collection is perfect because it gives us these three large heads that can be focal points or the main element in our paper doll. However, we're also in our Blooming Marvellous collection have some ephemera, some laser cut ephemera, and that's what I've used on this smaller doll. I used the head, the head character that comes from that ephemera set, and added it to a tag. They're just so easy to make, but they add a little bit of quirkiness to your projects. I'm just going to have a flick through and see if there are any others in the journals that other members of the design team have put together for us. I'm sure, here's one. This is a fantastic one from Sarah Edison from the design team, and she's gone a whole other level with her paper doll, where she's made it entirely out of ephemera from our Blooming Marvellous ephemera kit, and she's added some brabs to it. So actually the head and the arms and all these elements come in the pack, but she's combined them with the brabs to make a doll that actually acts almost like a puppet on your page and can be moved into different postures. So that's a really cool idea too. So paper dolls, I think, have been popular for quite some time now in the world of paper doll. No, it's just a head. In the world of art journaling, for all the reasons I've just said, and there's loads and loads of ways to do it. You can use effectively any face or figure image. You could use it from a stamp, you could maybe get something from a magazine, you could use a photograph, and really adding it to a whimsical, very simple body, and creating something that is a kind of standalone element on your pages, I think has become something that we all love to do. So that's what I want to do today. And I will just show you very quickly, because the purpose of our Make It Sundays are not really in terms of doing any sale spiel. I'm just going to talk you through the products that will probably feature in my crafting this Sunday, and that is the new Blooming Marvellous collection. So this is the A5 stamp set from Zinski Art, which contains those large, we deliberately made them large images for the very reason I've just described. In my head, I thought they would work really lovely as paper dolls, or as kind of embellishments that are going to work for both cards and journals. But of course, with it being Zinski Art, we have a whole lot of bright and vibrant elements. So given journaling is the focus for us today, then the ephemera stack, the 6x6 ephemera stack, is a set of papers that Zinski Art have designed for us, and it's full of pockets and tags and cut out embellishments you can use on your journal pages. And as you'll have seen in some of those pages that I was just describing or showing you there, the pockets have come out of here that we're tucking our paper dolls into. There's also a set of wonderful, bright and vibrant ephemera. I'm not going to open this pack, I've got loads of packs open, and the house is absolutely flooded with ephemera, so I don't want to open another pack when I've got so much around me. I'm just taking a handful, literally a handful from the desk on the side here. So you've got lots of ephemera in these packs, which will Sarah used to make a paper doll. Here you've got a tag or tab. Obviously you fold them in half to create tabs on the side of your on your pages, but this has got a little face in it, so you can make mini paper dolls as well. If you wanted to cut that in half, you could have two little heads to go on your paper dolls. Here's the one that we used to create the one with the tag. So that's a lovely size piece of ephemera, and there's a dog as well. So yeah, again, you could use it. You could put a dog's head on a body too. So many different ways you can create fun elements to add to your journals. Of course, this will now end up being all over my desk for the rest of the video. The Blooming Marvellous ephemera, so the Blooming Marvellous collection also has two stencils attached to it, Doodle Daisies and Alphabetti. I'm probably going to use Alphabetti as the background for the page that I'm going to do. And when I talk about the page I'm going to do, one of the things that the disc journal kit, and you just see me flicking through disc journals that have been made using our new products. The disc journal effectively is a spine die, A5 in length, but you can also use it to make smaller and bigger journal pages, that creates a disc slot that you can put your discs in to bind your pages, as you can see here. There's a closed die which cuts a strip, so you can cut these and have these ready to one side and add them to your pages when you're ready to put them into your journal. And there is also an open die which can cut directly into your pages. So this tag book here by Brian's a good example where he's used the die directly onto the tag, and so that's going to bind them together without adding a strip to it. So that's the die that creates the spine which will bind your pages together. We've got options in terms of the discs you can use. We've got a bright and colourful one. We've got a plain white and a plain black. There are 12 discs in each container. And then we also have put together some A5 and some A6. A5 and 6x6 journal covers. And these are clear plastic covers, but they're also wallets, so they're top loading. And the reason I've explained all that to you is what I'm thinking it will do today is create a cover for our A5 journal using one of these wallets. You can see how they've already got the perfectly spaced spine in the side there, so it just clicks onto our journal, easy as anything, top loading. So this can be used therefore to create a cover for your journal that's going to protect the pages underneath, or it could be used as a set of pages in its own right, if you like to have each of your pages protected, or as a set of pages that you're going to use if you are going to store your stencils. Here's the 6x6 one, or your dies. So you've got the magnetic sheet in there, and you've got the A5 journal cover. So you can use it for storage, or you can use it as a cover, which gives you the flexibility then of changing your covers as often as you want to, having of course an inner and an outer and an inner cover, because you could have two sheets of cardstock in here, so you can have decoration on both sides of the page. So my focus today is to create a paper doll that's going to go in a pocket, that's going to go into a cover, so that we start to really kind of put a lovely finishing touch on our journal. We're having a nice protected cover on top of it. Now, as you can see here from the journal I've got in front of me, there are different size pages in here. They've got tabs on the sides. I like that. I like journals with things sticking out in all directions. So I'm not necessarily worried about my journal cover completely covering the entirety of everything beneath it. But if you're wanting a much neater and more contained journal, then absolutely you can just make sure that your pages are all regulated A5, just a regular A5 in size, and they'll all sit behind this the cover that you put on top of them. It really is what your personal choice in terms of what you're wanting in your journal, the look and feel you want to create for your journal. I like that sense of things spilling out, because it intrigues me enough to want to flick through and see what's on the rest of those pages. Right, I think I've done a more blurb than I normally do at the beginning of a Make It Sunday, but because these are brand new products, and also for some of you may well be a new concept, something you haven't seen before, I thought it was helpful just to explain a little bit of the background to the items we're going to use today. But the reality is, when you're thinking about paper dolls and journal pages, this is going to work in anything you have. So if you already have a pre-bound journal and you like doing pages in there, then really the whole idea of making paper dolls is going to work for you in any different format that you have. Now I've got already ahead of time, it's about all the prep that I have done, is I've got some of our fabulous heads from the Zinski stamp set already stamped, coloured and cut out. I've got 3 in fact. I've got 2 of the same character here. Just try and extract her from the wallet without disturbing everything else. So I've got 3 options, 3 different colourways, because they're very quirky, because the heads or the hats have got lots of fabulous detail in them, pencils, notebooks, sailing boats, flowers, then they really do invite you to have fun with colour and not worry about being particularly realistic. It's all about being fun and vibrant with this artwork. So I've got my options, which is going to give me the scope to create several different paper dolls, and we can see then how we might use them in our journal. As you can see already, I had collected, this was the demo I was going to do on my Wednesday night live, but I ended up running over in time because it was our birthday live, and I got carried away chatting to you all and showing you the samples. So I already had some of this product in front of me, ready to go. So I'm just picking up some of this ephemera so it's not on our work surface. So I had decided, my plan initially was to go with our lovely character here in these yellows and oranges. Reason being is I had already chosen some cardstock that I'd coloured with sprays and watercolours. This is going to go everywhere, isn't it? You can see these problems are already going to be afoot here. I'd got some of our Pink Frog A5 watercolour card, which is now available in store, and this has been covered with I can't remember now, sprays, brushos, water reactive powders. There's some shimmer in there as well, as you can see, and because it was in this lovely rich colour, I thought this would be a nice backdrop for our fabulous character. When I cut her out, I did cut her out with some more space around the shoulders, as you can see here. That was only because I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to do with her. These other images I cut right the way around. It really doesn't matter. I may well trim all this off when we actually get to adhering it to a body, but that's why I've left that there for now. But you can see it could be a great tab on the top of a page as well. That would make that page very, very tall. But you could have her sticking out the top of a page as well. Excuse me. I'm struggling a little bit with a sore throat today. So this is going to be the background of our cover. I've already cut from our ephemera stack a pocket that will obviously give me somewhere to tuck our paper doll when it's completed, and again I've just used the colours to influence my choice with those yellows tying across. But you can see with this kind of ephemera that Zinski Art provide for us, it's always packed full of lots of colours, so you can't really go wrong. You're always going to be able to pick up some colour in one of the elements that's going to combine with the colouring you've done. And I'm also going to use, on the body of our paper doll, I'm going to use our fabulous A6 Affirmations stamp, which is currently, for the whole of January, the month of January, is free with purchases of £20 or more while stocks last. And I thought this would be great, a great kind of element to use on our page because of all the positive words that it contains. I've used it here, for example, in the background for this paper doll. In fact, this is probably pretty much what I'm going to do today. I've used it on the body of the paper doll as well. I think that's great to have all those words on the main part of the figure. There's a lot of orange and yellow. So my first thinking, and I'm just trying to work backwards in terms of what will need most drying time. So before we even get to paper doll making, my first thought is, that's great, it's all going to coordinate nicely, but there's a lot of yellow and orange on there. So I'm thinking it would be quite nice to tone some of this down using our Alphabetti stencil, which is part of this collection. And it's a really fun and quirky alphabet stencil. Really kind of a nice, easy on the eye font, blocky, playful. It'll work with so many different projects and styles of artwork. I think I'm going to use our Raven Stella paste, which is a black, beautiful black colour, blue black. And I'm going to add some stenciling to the two opposite corners of the journal cover. Obviously we know our pocket's going to go here, so it'll cover a lot of it up, but it'll add a little bit of black to that background, which I think will just give us a bit of contrast that at the moment the colour scheme is lacking. That's my theory. So we're going to do that first. Shall I get a bit of scrap paper so we're not going to mess up our mat straight off. So let's add. It's going to go right there. I'm going to let's add some of this black. So you know how much I love our Stella paste. They give you excellent coverage. We've already got some shimmer on this background, and because it's Zinski and it's a bright and colourful feel to it, I think having a glittery paste works well, but the black will give it a bit of definition and contrast. I'm not looking to cover the whole of the page because we know we've already got a large pocket to fit onto the page. And it's about texture and background detail, although I can't, that's it, that A was missing a bit. So hopefully, this is my nails struggling to pick up. How cool does that look? I really love that. It's really stuck to the paper. Great contrast. You can see, can you see the difference it makes already? Just having that strong definition. So a background that already had lots of lush colour in it suddenly starts to pop even more. Trying to avoid getting my stencil in the wet paste. So I'm just going in this bottom corner here. Exactly the same process. I really like the sound of that paste going through the stencil. Apologies if you don't. And also, the point I always like to make about our Stella paste is the density of the coverage. So you can see here, you do have a reasonably good amount of open space on these letters, and it's covered that perfectly. So you're going to have a really lovely solid black coverage as this dries. So I'm going to do a little bit of tidying up, and also I'm going to get a drink because I am struggling with my throat, and I shall be back in 1 second when we'll actually start doing something with paper dolls, which is what I said we were going to do all along. So I'll see you in a minute. So to make the body for our paper doll, I'm going to use a die that has come from our View Builder die set, and these originally came out as part of a kind of a view builder, as you can see, scene building die set, where you've got an archway and landscapes and you can staircases, and you could create really kind of cool scenery with them. But this arch is the perfect size to make a body for a paper doll. So, and they're currently half price in the shop, by the way, if you do want to check that out. But of course, any tag die that you have, you could cut them. You could cut a body freehand. There really are no rules with paper dolls. So this is just one of the ways that I'm going to make the doll today. But as I showed you in that ephemera stack, that paper stack from Eleanor, there are tag shapes in here which you can cut out and use for the body as well. I'm trying to find one of the ones I've used. There we go. So different size tags, but these will make great bodies for your paper dolls as an alternative. So there are always ways that you can create that body to suit the kind of project you're making. Because I'm thinking about the colours on my cover, which are these yellows and oranges and reds, I'm going to do some blending onto a piece of white cardstock. So I'm effectively going to make the body from scratch rather than cutting it from a piece of pattern paper or from the ephemera stack. Just showing you another way that you can customise your doll to completely work with the project you're making. So a bit of fossilised amber, lovely warm colours. It is bitterly cold at the moment, so I'm obviously gravitating towards warm colours as a way of making myself feel better. A bit of spiced marmalade. And don't worry, as you can see here, this blend doesn't need to be perfect. We're going to stamp over the top, but also when you're pulling two colours together like this, this is the Pink Frog Super Smooth white cardstock, so it blends beautifully. When you're putting two colours together like this, you just can go back over with the first colour and that will soften that blend. So it's a great way of merging your colours as you go. I'm not covering the whole of this A5 sheet of card because I know how much I need effectively for this particular die cut, and I just didn't want to take up too much of your time with blending a whole sheet of A5 cardstock. You'll just get the idea. So this is abandoned coral. I'm just going for kind of ombre here. I think this brush must have had something on it that's made it a bit stiff, but it is fine. I can just feel it's a bit stiffer than the others. Just pull that orange over the top though, and that blend will be seamless again. And remember, as with anything, you're going to die cut from this, so any imperfections you're currently seeing when you're blending really going to get lost in the final result, because it's the magic of the die, just kind of transforms it into something else. So this time, as you can see, I've kind of almost taken that fossilised amber over the whole piece just to really kind of bring that yellow all the way down, so it just helps those colours to really kind of blend smoothly together. So we've got an ombre going on there in the colours that we want, and I'm going to stamp excuse me, I'm going to stamp the affirmations, stamp the A6 affirmations over the top of this before we die cut the body, because that will give us a fantastic kind of look over the dress. Now this is a large stamp. For the kind of design I'm going for, I wouldn't really need to get a perfect image, but I'm going to put it into our stamping platform just to help make the process a bit easier. But it really is one of those things that you wouldn't need to worry unduly about getting a perfect stamped impression on here, because again we're just looking to get some interest onto the body of the doll. Just the right way up. And again, our die is only going to take a segment of this ultimately when we cut it out, so we'll be able to choose which part of the final kind of stamped area we like the best. So let's get a bit of black ink on. If you're going really subtle here, you could do tone on tone, so you could have it in the stamped in the colours that you've already put down on the background. But just as I put that black on the stenciling on the background of the cover, I do think it will help the paper doll if it has some black on it as well. I just think it will make it all a bit more impact. So see, it didn't catch in the middle there, which wouldn't be an issue. We could probably choose the bit of the stamp that we'd avoiding the bit that we'd miss, but because it's a stamping platform, that was easy enough to rectify. So that's one side. I will just pull out my die cutting machine and cut the body, and the process of putting our paper dolls together will be a really fun and quick one. I'm just going to wait for this ink to dry because it's obviously stamped onto wet distress ink, so it's all quite damp on there. So I'm going to let this dry, run it through the die cutting machine, and I shall be back with a body very shortly. See you in a second. So die cut the body from the cardstock that we blended and stamped onto, so that's created a nicely shaped body for our head on our paper doll, and it really is such a straightforward process, but it's really fun result. So I think I could put our doll head on the front of the body, but I think I'm going to put it behind. I'm going to attach those, and then we can embellish our doll, add some little bits and pieces to her before we finish up the cover page. So let's just add some glue. And what I will typically do, I probably won't do it on camera today, but I will typically adhere this doll, once it's completed, to a piece of cardstock. And cut it out again, and that will just give it a little bit more substance, particularly if, I mean, this is all cardstock, so it's quite a nice weight, but if you're using pattern papers which may be slightly thinner, then either back them onto cardstock before you cut them out, or put your whole doll together and then cut the whole thing out of cardstock, just to give yourself say a bit more of a solid element. And particularly if your back is messy, so if the back of the cardstock here, for example, doesn't look particularly great, if you've got that backed, you can then use it for journaling or adding notes to the back of it, and it just gives it a bit of a tidier finish. So I'm just waiting for that glue to grab, and I thought, again, just trying to bring some of that black into the whole design. I thought it'd be good to have a piece of the ephemera from the Bits and Bobs ephemera pack, almost like buttons down the front of her dress. So I'll add that, and then I'm going to add some wings as well. So you can make your paper dolls as whimsical and as abstract as you want. The fun bit is having all your kind of bits in front of you, your head's coloured and cut out, and then really it's a bit like when we were playing back in the day about making your own characters out of what you can see. So I think I have cut some out already. I've cut a couple of hearts out of the ephemera paper pad, which I can't see now, but of course, because you get 3 pages of each design in the pad, then you're obviously going to get multiples of elements. So I was able to cut out 2 of the yellow hearts, so they're matching, and I just thought they'd be quite nice little wings if we put them behind our doll. Again, you can hand draw some of these elements, you could doodle on the body of the doll. It really is a process for you to use your imagination on. It's just quite fun to have all the coordinating bits here in front of you, so you can just make it all work. So, and having mismatching wings or having one wing, all these things kind of will give your doll its unique character. So, sticking that on the back. And also, I'm sure I saw a bee in the ephemera pack. There are a couple of bees. Here's one with a little crown. I'm just wondering whether to attach that to her headdress. I don't know. I might put that on the main page. I might leave that for now. So, just making sure everything's stuck down. What I will do is, as I say, is put this onto cardstock to give it a bit more substance. But we've got it far enough along that we can add it to our page, I think, for now. You can see where I'm going with this cover. So our Stella paste is pretty much dried, she says, hopefully. And so look how well this is going to fit on the page. Again, if you're feeling your body or your doll needs a bit of extra definition, then you could put some black ink around the edge. But because when I put it on, I think I put it onto white cardstock, I've got a slight halo around the head here. I probably will cut the whole thing with a slight white halo, and that will help it stand out from the rich colour behind it. So we've got our pocket. It's going to work so nicely, isn't it? And she'll just about fit in there. So let's stick the pocket down. Obviously we're wanting it to play nicely with the Stella paste underneath. Of course, when making a pocket, you're only adding your glue to the 3 edges. Captain Obvious. But I have added to all 4 edges plenty of times. So let's put it there. And it will need a little bit of time to grab where there is the texture of the Stella paste. So I'm not expecting it to make full contact straight away. That'll need a little bit of patience to get that all drying, and it won't matter for the nature of the thing we're putting in it. It doesn't really matter even if some of the side elements don't completely stick down. There's going to be enough of a pocket created that it's going to hold what we're going to put into it. So probably come right off the page now, won't it? Because the glue is still wet. I think that's looking really, really sweet. So she's there. We could still put our bee somewhere. Maybe I might decorate the pocket with the bee. I like that. Now, what I have also done ahead of time, although I probably lost the letters now, because I'm sure you saw as I was taking it out of the wallet, they were going everywhere, is I've cut out letters from the 6x6 ephemera stack, because it's got 3 pages of full alphabets and numbers in there, so you're going to have lots of letters to be able to cut out. You could use them as background pages, and they look a bit like the alphabetti, really cool backgrounds. So there's that option as well. But when I was thinking about it, I thought it would work really well as an alphabet that you could cut out and make your own sentiments with. So we've got be happy, That's cool. So therefore the bee will look nice actually, won't it, on there. How cool does that look? What I will do off camera is I will probably edge my letters with a bit of ink before I stick them down, just to define them. I will, as I've said already, back the doll in cardstock, and when everything's stuck down I'll probably back the cover page with cardstock as well, just to hide the unsightliness of the ink and smudges from the sprays that are there, and that'll give me a nice tidy look on the inside of my cover. Of course, if I wanted to make a two-sided cover, then I could do another design. Wouldn't need to back this because they'd be back to back in the journal, and both of the outer faces would show. So you've got choices about whether or not you'd need to back this card. But I think that's so lovely, isn't it? I mean, you've got so much more ephemera here to play with that we could keep going in terms of adding more and more to it. But I'm going to leave that to one side, unstuck carefully. I've got two more heads here. I don't know whether I'll decorate both of them, but this is just to show you all the various permutations you've got. So for example, here is one of the tags from the ephemera 6x6 paper pads, and I think the colours in those flowers work really lovely with the colours on this character, and I think I could add that to the front. Let's do that. So this time I'm going to add her neckline to the front of the tag. Put that there. And I could say go to town embellishing this the way that I started to do with our first doll. I saw something I thought would work. I think it's here. I thought this fabulous little bird would work brilliantly, kind of tucked into the, or tucked on top of the headdress, because the colours match nicely, don't they? So let's do that. She can have a bird on top of her head. It could go on her shoulder as well, but I think it's probably proportions wise it fits better at the top. This is why I think the ephemera pieces and the 6x6 pad will have you kind of creating so many fun things. I'm definitely going to use one of these as a bookmark as well, because they're a nice size for bookmarks. And once you've got them backed onto cardstock, they'll have a little bit more, say, a bit more weight to them. You could even put them through a laminator as well if you were wanting a really long-lasting bookmark. So again, have a think about what use you might put it to. Or I mean, that's a great idea in terms of a card. You could have this on the front of a card tucked into a pocket, but it could be a giftable that they keep potentially when the card has been thrown away. They've got a bookmark that they can keep and use to remember what you've made for them. So again, not always necessarily journal pages. So I could do some more on her, but I'm not going to, because this video is going to go on forever. And they've got these fantastic trims in the ephemera pad, so we could put some trims on. We could put some trim at the bottom of her dress. I might do that. You've got a whole ton of these kind of circle elements, so again, you can make some fab buttons. We could put some more wings on there. There's a cute little butterfly here. So we could have a butterfly on her as well. You can see where I'm going with this. And then of course we've got our wonderful blue doll, and I used some of the Feeling Groovy paper pad. This is a 6x6 pad we've had out for a little while by Zinski Art, but again, perfect for this kind of paper dolls, because you've got wonderful patterns, which if you've got a tag die want to cut freehand, I mean, that would work with her as well, wouldn't it? The colours. Then we'll give you the perfect kind of material for the bodies of your paper dolls. Some of these elements, some of these patterns have been married across into the ephemera stack as well, so you know that the papers in here will coordinate with lots of what you've got in the paper stack. Anyway, I will carry on playing and making my dolls, and we shall see in the final image the cover in situ. But I think you can see here, you can see where I'm going, how simple it is, and really where the fun element of all this comes into play, which is the getting the colour combo you like, picking your papers, and embellishing your dolls. And I would love to see what you make. So I hope you've enjoyed this Make It Sunday. I hope, if you don't already, you like and subscribe to the channel. I hope you like our new discbound journal concept and the Blooming Marvellous collection, and I've given you some ideas of ways you can get creative with it. And I shall see you again next Sunday. Have a great week. Bye for now.